says actually. Oh, now we're on live. Okay.
Woo!
What's up? Hello, I'm talking. Josh, shut the hell up. No, I'm sorry. Today you have been brought to you for a 2, 3 malfunction.
Boy, the first 30 seconds of this podcast is just going to be cut out.
That's fine. I don't care. That's what editing's all about. Welcome to podcast number 2, where we discuss things that are nerdy, things that we want to talk about. I am Corey.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Josh.
And our first topic is brought to you by the letter C, of course. But it has nothing to do with my topic, so I don't know. Is Gotham set to completely rewrite Batman's origin story? What do you guys think about that?
I think they just lost a couple viewers by saying that.
What do you
At this
think?
point, I feel like they've already burned the bridges for any of their comic book fans. They're like, screw it, we're rewriting everything.
Well, they're
now
talking.
we can make it a high school drama.
Would be like Glee 2. That's basically what this is going to be.
It's
Glee,
gonna,
the Batman
it's gonna
version.
become a musical. Mark my words. You're gonna have like Penguin become the douchey high school student because it's gonna be like a high school, middle school. And you're gonna have like Bruce Wayne and Catwoman, you know, in class together. It's gonna be a thing.
It will. In fact, some of the things they're actually talking about doing is in the change is Catwoman will actually train Bruce Wayne. Is an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Bruce Wayne they actually plan on skipping the whole Playboy phase for Bruce Wayne. Like, then you're not Bruce Wayne anymore, are you? You're just a kid that hates himself.
That's like the Spider-Man comic book writers thing. We're gonna skip the nerdy boy thing, and he's just gonna be a jock who gets
Pretty
Spider-Man
much.
powers.
And
So-
the one thing that I hate so much is they're basically gonna make Bruce Wayne Jim Gordon's bitch by making him a sidekick. That's what they're going with. What do you guys think?
I don't like that at all.
I feel like they're basically saying, okay, we like the concept of a guy in a cape with a bat suit on fighting people, and that's about it. And then they don't care about actually taking any story elements from it. They're just gonna make their own thing, which I think is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Fox we're talking about, so they tend to not really care what goes on.
Fox means two things. They're gonna butcher it and drag it out like a slow dying animal, or when it finally gets good, they'll cancel it.
But like I told you guys last time, they are focusing on Jim Gordon, and that's the way they want to go. And I don't know.
No,
I hate
I
it.
think no. I think that would be good if they focused just on Jim Gordon, but they're focusing on Batman too and Catwoman. That's what's screwing it up.
But if they're making Batman the sidekick, he basically means, in my opinion, it would be side story. So none of his stuff really matters. Like, you're going to see side stuff with, hey, I'm Catwoman, so I can do cool stuff like sit on buildings and stuff. So I'm going to train you how to do that because that's awesome and stuff. And then you're going to see
Be lured
everything
by
else.
shiny hanging objects from things.
Right, and you're going to focus.
I cannot get over the fact that in the comics, Catwoman went over buildings because she's a thief at night, being all catty. Why would you do it during the day? People are going to see you and be like, look at that freak climbing buildings.
Yeah.
Use the sidewalk.
As a kid running from building to building.
Like, it's even to the point where, like, are they really just going to focus on Catwoman, like, most of the time? Like, that's what it sounds like. It's like, let's look at all of these villains. Jim Gordon's going to go through his day-to-day thing. Like, I didn't see the episode for episode 3, but the title of the episode is Balloon Man. What? What does that even mean? I don't even know what the story or the thing's going to be about. Balloon Man?
Who's Balloon Man?
Batman or Bruce Wayne is having a birthday party because he's a little kid, and he hires a balloon man.
That's going to be Joker.
That's the whole episode.
That's so exciting.
What would you guys do if they introduced the Joker and he's an adult while Bruce Wayne is a child?
Oh, well, they're already discussing that. At this
Yeah.
rate, half of his villains are going to be like 15 to 20 years older than him.
Yeah, they said that in the article that I was reading. Everybody's going to be older than Bruce Wayne. That's just a fact. That's the way they're going.
So when he becomes Batman, he doesn't beat them because he's better than them. He beats them because they're senior citizens.
And
And
can
they
I
can't-
point out two things here?
Sure.
I want to say in the comics, Batman is always a better fighter than like Catwoman, for instance. So I don't know how they're gonna explain that if he's being trained by her. And second
Hmm.
of all, if he's being trained by her, that means isn't he gonna start climbing rooftops? So we call Catman, not Batman.
Right. There's gonna be a scene where Batman's like, I gotta be different than a cat. I am allergic to cats. I hate cats. Well, I know. And then all of a sudden, a bat just flies right by them. Batman. And then that's where the season finale. That's gonna be the season finale, and that's how they find out that he's Batman. That's how it's gonna
If
work,
they
guys.
do that, I will chuck my TV out the window.
Be prepared.
And I swear, if you ever remember, like in Smallville, the origin story for that, they never wanted him to wear a cape with blue. So like the last 2 seasons when he was fighting crime, he would just be the Blur, like fight people in civilian clothes. I swear if they do something like that in this show where they don't want him to dress up as Batman yet, so he's just like in the alleys with a hoodie, beating people up with karate. It's gonna be
Exactly.
horrible.
And as far-
Karate Kid 3. Gotham.
Gotham style. And as far as him being a sidekick, I guess that makes understanding why Batman hates Robin so much. Because he's a sidekick and he's James Gordon's bitch. And now when Robin comes along, he's like, "Why are you so mean to me?" And he's like, "I know what it is to be a sidekick." And then he just treats him like shit the whole time. That's what it's gonna be.
I thought in the comics, now that I'm thinking about it, I thought Gordon is introduced to Gotham at the same time he becomes Batman.
Mm,
No. In the comics, he was in the police force for a while.
Okay.
And depending on the comic, sometimes he becomes the commissioner because Batman took out the corrupt commissioner or something like that, or he just moves on up. But he was in the police force when Batman kind of broke out into the scene, and then he became commissioner a little later.
Well,
Yeah.
there was that really badass animated series that showed Gordon beating up the whole police force. Like I think he captured the commissioner and like beat him with a baseball bat
wow.
until he left office. I forget what it was called. It was
So
like
that's how he became
Batman Year
commissioner.
1 or something.
Was it year one? I don't remember it year one.
I think so.
I don't remember him beating people up. I don't know. But all I know is the show like screwed up. I think it would be better. I believe they did come out and say it wasn't like canon, it wasn't part of the comics or whatever. But I feel like it would have been made me a lot easier if they just basically said this whole show is an alternate universe or something like that.
I mean, and they can do that too. That's what Marvel does. That's what DC does. When they want to take back something that they did, they just go like, "Oh, well, we have a character that can create alternate universes and just screw with them."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the choice of rewriting the origins of an iconic character. That's like making a Bond movie and making him an American CIA agent who's a female.
I mean, we pretty much came to the idea that like they're going completely away from the comic book. They're going to be their own thing, and that's that. I have some props for that. I said, okay, I appreciate that. But once you mess with origins, then you're going to piss a lot of people off, and I think that's a bad idea for them as a show to do. So,
I think with this show, they're cashing in on people who like Batman movies and
Yeah.
want to watch a TV show, and not people who like Batman comics.
I agree.
Well, I mean, they tried to do that, but then like you watch the first 2 episodes and you're just like, this has nothing to do with anything.
And anyone who knows anything about comic book fans know they like their origin stories. At least when it comes to superheroes, you gotta keep the same origins. That's what makes them them. So I don't know. You screw with that, you kind of screw with your fan base.
I mean, they're guaranteed to go one season because Netflix bought them out. So they're guaranteed to do one season. So they're gonna roll with that, see how it goes, and go from there. I mean, that's really what they're gonna do.
Wait,
And-
Netflix bought Gotham?
Yeah,
No, they bought the rights.
they're right. So they're gonna be on
Bring
Netflix.
them. Like,
Oh,
like
cool.
you know how a year from now, after it airs on TV, then it goes on Netflix. Basically, Netflix will be the only one airing them.
Right.
But Fox actually made a full season order, like back when they first announced it, at, like Comic-Con or whenever, like a year ago. So.
Well,
they're
hopefully
going all
Netflix
in.
can do something good with it then.
So I have one.
They're not producing it; they're just airing it on a streaming
Oh.
service. Season 2, if it ever came to fruition, would still be on Fox. So.
So I have one final question. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Who is done talking about Gotham for a long time? I am. About you guys?
I
Yeah.
am at least over talking about it until something like
Incredible happens.
a big change happens. Like either the writing team just wakes up a little bit and it gets really good. If it gets really good, I'll be like, well, yeah, let's talk about it every episode, man. You know,
Yeah,
or if something crazy happens. But yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
see
bit of
that
a stale
happening.
show.
I'm sure something else like that's controversial or something that I'm not gonna like is gonna happen, and Corey's gonna bring it up just so he can see if he can make me mad and get me ranting about it.
Exactly, you got it. But anyway, okay.
Christian, you wanna go?
Okay. What do you guys think of the rumor about Avengers 3 throwing out all the Avengers for that movie except for Iron Man and having him lead the new cast of unknown Avengers?
Oh gosh, Josh is gonna have a Iron Man orgasm. Go
I
ahead, Iron.
mean, I it's not because Iron Man is gonna be leading this. I like it because it's the change. And while I liked the old Avengers, I think it'll be a nice change from like Hawkeye and Black Widow, where we can see people like oh, what's his name? The guy that's faster than the Flash, who is in X-Men.
X-Men.
Oh my gosh. You're
That's
mixing
DC, dude.
oh, that's sacrilege. We're gonna have to
Oh my gosh.
No, he
you've
was
done
in.
it, dude.
You just confused it. That's just like a nerd insult right now.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
What are you guys talking about? Isn't
Flash?
X-Men. X-Men is
Flash
DC.
is DC. X-Men is Marvel.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh my
What?
gosh.
Why? Confusion. Justice League, that's the Flash. That's their team on DC.
No, I'm saying there's a guy in X-Men who he was made because he needed to combat the Flash in DC's Justice League. I wasn't confusing anything. I was using him to compare. I
Oh,
forget what his
why are you
name
saying
is.
he's faster? You can't compare speeds in a comic book.
He's
from two comic-
he's the brother of Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that's what's his name? I should really know this. I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't know it. But whatever.
I'll-
I know what you're talking about.
But I know that they were talking about bringing the Scarlet Witch and him into the Avengers in Age of Ultron.
Oh, they are. They've done it.
Quicksilver. Yeah.
Yeah,
Quicksilver. There we go.
That's it.
But I just want to see like the Hulk, pretty badass in the original Avengers. I don't know what they're gonna do with him in Age of Ultron. And then honestly, I don't even know who Ultron is.
I have a completely different opinion on that. I would. I haven't seen enough of the Avengers for you to change the whole cast. You see what I'm saying?
Well, this
Like,
is
we've
for the
only
third
had.
movie, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
That's
the
true.
second one.
That's true. I don't know. It depends on who they bring. If they're
All I know-
interesting, then I'm okay with it.
All I know is I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a really obscure property, and I fell in love with it. It's great. So I recently started reading the new line of comics for them. And for a small story arc, I think it's like 10 issues maybe.
Okay.
I don't know the exact number. Iron Man goes into space and joins the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
And I'd love to see Tony Stark and Guardians of the Galaxy working together in a movie with the good actors. It'd be awesome.
Just having Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr. together having a discussion is probably a huge nerdgasm.
No. I'm waiting for Tony Stark and Groot to talk.
Oh yeah.
Stark's like, so how about repulsors and science? And Groot's like, I am Groot.
I am. You don't even need to say, well, Groot said this.
Right.
Ooh,
Because-
or have Hulk and Groot have a nice conversation.
Oh my gosh, it'd be a
Hulk
brilliant
smash!
conversation.
I am Groot. Smash! I am Groot.
That would be pretty interesting.
All in
Sorry.
all, I mean, I have faith in what they do. They make great casting choices. They hire solid writers, so it's not scaring me necessarily. And they do talk about how because they don't want to do the traditional Hollywood thing. Because remember, they don't have a trilogy thing in mind. They don't want to end this thing till the cash cow dies.
Oh
So people
yeah.
stop watching them. So they don't want to end at Avengers 3. So they're already talking about how Avengers 3 would introduce a new team Thus, that means new phase movies, you know, because if you have like Ant-Man, for instance, then you have to have Ant-Man 1, 2, and 3 plus
Yep.
will be in Avengers 3 and 4 or something like that. So you do all that, and then you bring back the old Avengers. They're talking about doing that for like an Avengers finale series. Because if you keep them out of a Marvel movie, if you don't see Thor for like 5 years, then you bring them back, come on. Those numbers would be enormous for people who buy those tickets.
That's very
I
true.
mean, but Thor 2 wasn't even that good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you keep those actors out of it, like, I know if I had to go like 6 years without seeing Captain America and Thor and those guys and Hulk back, and they said, okay, they're coming back for like an awesome movie, I would be like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I think what's different is they're planning these movies out like they plan a comic book story arc, which is not common in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely. Which would be fantastic if they I think, I don't know, I believe they need to go more towards comic book versions of a movie, which I think the best one is Avengers because they are doing what they're supposed to do as far as the Avengers, and it's fantastic. If they use that same thing all the way through, it's gonna be money, man. It's gonna be money for
And
sure.
what I think is interesting is that the writers on the movies, which are not necessarily the same ones from the comics,
No.
have made better versions of some of the comic book characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the elements of Tony Stark from the movies that are different from the comics have bled into the comics because they
Hmm.
like them. Probably because more people know them, but also because I think some of those writing elements are just better.
Well, it's
So
kind of like the issue of it's a completely different topic, but it's kind of going on the same thing. Like Ben Affleck is playing Batman. A lot of people hate it, but he's actually a comic book fan. He loves Batman. Like imagine somebody that's a fan of a character that they love being that person. They're gonna give it their all, and I think Ben Affleck's gonna be a great Batman, and that's what I'm saying. Like if comic book writers do the same thing with movies, money, like I said. So
I think for a comic book movie, there should really be like a mixed writing team. Have like a movie storyboard guy trying to
hmm
make it all fit into a 2 hour movie, but then have the comic book guys there to really add the crucial elements, and
yeah.
then you're golden.
Oh,
Because it
for
Make
really
it a
doesn't get
movie.
screwy. It doesn't get screwy until you have like a comic book writer trying to write a movie, because then it doesn't flow well, and you have pacing issues, all that stuff.
hmm
Or you have a storyboard guy, Hollywood guy trying to write a comic book movie, and then 3/4 of the comic book base are like, what is this crap?
Exactly. And is that it?
What if they do change? Because I did read the article, Christian, that you were reading from, and I saw that they had to change up the team mostly because all the actors that they've chosen, all their contracts are coming to a close for a number of movies that they have to do. So
Yeah.
if they do make a new Avengers team, who would you guys want to see there?
Hmm.
Well, as a fan of the issues a couple of the Avengers comics a couple years ago, I'm a sucker for like Wolverine, and because I read some good writing between when they had Spider-Man and Wolverine on the team. But that's never gonna happen because
No, it's not.
yeah,
I mean,
Wolverine 20th Century Fox and Spider-Man Sony, so
they've kind of beaten Wolverine like a dead horse, though, in
well
terms
that's why
of
they're
how many
killing.
movies he's been in.
They're killing him in the comics currently. He lost
hmm
his healing power and he's gonna die and be off the comics for like 2 years. So, and that's because it's become a running joke. He's literally on every team. He's on the X-Men. He's on some Avengers X-Men team. He guest stars on the Avengers. He's in every comic. So they're killing him off for a couple of years.
Hmm. Right? And now,
So,
and now
you have another
Josh,
topic?
Josh, this is topic.
My topic is on the Ant-Man movie that is said to come out in 2015.
Thoughts.
And my, I just was wondering what you guys first think about Paul Rudd being Ant-Man.
Well, in the comics, Ant-Man is like a genius in the same realm. I think in the comic book hierarchy, it's something like Reed Richards, Stretch Man, or
hmm
Yeah.
I don't know his Reed Richards, Ant-Man, they're like in the upper echelon of smartness, and then Tony Stark below them, and then like Peter Parker below him, stuff like that. Oh no, and there's Bruce Banner, he's up there too.
Right.
So he's a genius. Can Paul Rudd play a genius?
No.
We'll have to see about that. Unless they're gonna just like really flip it on us and have like a dopey Ant-Man. He's like a comedian.
Which I feel like they're going towards.
No.
Here's what I read in the article about the Ant-Man movie. It said that Paul Rudd is playing a character who he inherits the Ant-Man power.
Oh, I remember that. They're going weird with it, where an old man is gonna play the actual Ant-Man from the comics, and he plays his lab assistant or something like that.
Really?
No, he's like a thief.
Or something like that, yeah. And I think that's interesting because if they want Ant-Man to join the Avengers, it feels to me, because, I think it's Kevin Feige is his name. He's like the leader of the whole cinematic universe. I almost feel like he told his writers and his team, we don't want Ant-Man, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark all on the team because the fans love those conflicting personality type things, like Captain America and Iron Man, for instance. So if you have three smart geniuses, it gets kind of stale a little bit. So have someone who's not the actual Ant-Man from the comics, the genius, and just someone else to like really mix it up, I feel like. So
I guess. I mean, that kind of works.
I mean, in my mind, if they can make a movie about a talking tree, a talking raccoon, a dude from Earth in the 80s who was taken to space, and then a green lady and a dude with tattoos, entertaining it and hilarious. At this point, I haven't been disappointed yet by a Marvel movie. The worst ones to me are the Thor series, in terms of, to me, what I find entertaining, but they're still worth the $10 ticket. So.
But we're talking about a superhero whose ability is to shrink, and he can increase in strength.
That's all his ability, though.
Exactly. So what are we gonna do with that? You know what I mean?
I'm not sure how they're going with that though. That might just be because in the comics, I believe he uses Pym particles or something like that. Hank Pym, who's the original guy, which now they're going with another guy, so I don't know what they're gonna do. But Pym particles, and that allows him to change size, so he can get smaller, like an ant, and like kill people or something, and he can become as big as 10-story buildings and punch people, fight crime.
I just feel like there's like some comic book heroes that should just stay in the comics, and Ant-Man is one of those guys. He's boring, and I don't see like something. Listen, like this. Imagine this, okay? A bad guy's coming. He's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shrink really small. Like I'd laugh at that scene.
Well,
there's
keep in mind,
nothing.
In the comics, I believe he has a wife who is can shrink to the size of a fairy and shoot little sparks at people.
Sounds kinky.
Yeah,
now that's horrible for a movie. But Ant-Man, to his credit, eventually becomes a guy who can turn into a giant. And I feel like if they do the CGI right, you could have some pretty sweet fights with him as like a 10-story building. So that's something.
The 10-story building thing, I have no problem with because you're going in the realm of Hulk now because he's huge. But when you get a superhero that shrinks and he's strong, when he shrinks, the more he shrinks, that's an issue. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, just imagine that. Like, you think of all these superheroes, and they're all huge. Like, all the Avengers are huge. And then you got Ant-Man, he just gets small. That's what he does. And he gets really strong. And then you just basically see a dot throwing around a villain. What?
I'm picturing like a midget running around like, hey you! Yeah! Fuck you! And then he punches him and it's like destroys the whole building.
But it's not even a midget. It's a dot. It's an ant.
Well, I will say, bottom line, they haven't steered me wrong yet, so we'll just have to see where Marvel takes it. I'll pay the ticket.
You'll pay the money? Don't get me wrong, though. Don't get me wrong. I hope they do great. I just don't see where they're going to take it. That's all.
I'm hoping that it doesn't become Marvel's Green Lantern movie.
Well, yeah, we can't talk about that one.
Do you think that they're going to include Ant-Man's domestic abuse problems as well?
It would be great if they did. Like, not that I encourage domestic abuse. You don't get me wrong. But like, imagine then you got a good story. Then you got something that you can grab onto and be like, oh, this guy's a bastard. Now I hate him more. Like, I don't know. What do you
I
guys think?
guess I was just like, well, it adds a certain aspect to like his non-superhero side.
Right, there'd be a backstory. That would be his backstory. But isn't the domestic abuse? Isn't he the guy that's hitting? Like,
Yeah,
is he a hero
beats
anymore?
Wasp.
He's kind of an asshole now.
Yeah, he
Wait.
beats up Wasp.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If they introduce that, that means they'll have to introduce his wife. And a girl who turns into a wasp-sized person shoots sparks. I don't think should ever be introduced into the movie universe anyway, because it just seems like a waste.
hmm
So that's the thing.
I don't see. Also, I don't see Paul Rudd as a superhero. Like, I've never seen Paul Rudd as like, you know what? He'd be a great superhero. Never.
Yeah, but then again, Robert Downey Jr. was a drunk cokehead before he got his chance to play Iron Man in the first one again.
True,
Cleaned up his act, and now everyone sees him as Tony Stark. And
But he
not
actually-
Robert Downey Jr.
but he actually has an acting skills. That's the difference. Paul Rudd does not.
They say comedians
Ouch.
did dramatic roles, so
We'll see, I
we'll
guess.
have to see.
Now, the real question: do you guys want to see an Avengers link between the Ant-Man movie and Avengers 3 or 2?
Absolutely not.
Me neither.
Christian, what about you?
They're gonna do it.
Yeah,
They link all their movies.
they're gonna do it, but do you want to see it?
I don't know. I really don't know. Because Ant-Man could be the best one yet. Who knows? We could all be talking about it later and be like, that was a great movie.
I bit my words. Whoops.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I'm up for it. We'll have to see what they do with it. Basically, I'm not like scared of what the movie will be, but I'm not necessarily excited for it either. So,
Yeah, I have no excitement for it at all, actually.
and I don't. They've shown test footage of it, which was interesting. It was just him crawling in vents and stuff. The CGI was decent.
So he's basically John McClane from Die Hard.
Except the vents are giant caves because he's an ant.
Oh, okay.
But they haven't put out any trailers or anything like that. So I say we should talk about this when they have the first trailer out.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I guess. I mean, it's just mostly theorizing what we think it's going to be. I mean, but to me, it's just Ant-Man's not interesting because he grows stronger as he shrinks, which doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I think we should just face it and say that Ant-Man is Marvel's Aquaman from DC. That eventually he'll just be not useful anymore. Until they've beaten his dead horse corpse body into the ground.
Wow, that went graphic right there.
Sorry.
I think we get it, Josh. You don't like Ant-Man.
I just don't know who the villain is of Ant-Man. Is there like a Wasp Man or
I have no idea the history of Ant-Man, so I have no
like
idea.
a farmer holding a can of like pesticide? Thanks for that.
I thought I'd include that for you.
I just don't know how the movie would be. But it's still really early. It's really, really early.
See, that's the interesting thing to me about it is because they don't plan it and they don't have an end plan for the Marvel universe. As our group of people, always talking about the new comic book nerd news, there's always news about them writing new ones, setting up new movies, sequels, blah blah blah, and that's really cool.
Mhm.
The Marvel train never ends, constantly going.
Always gonna happen. All right. Well, is
Do
that
we have
it?
anything else to talk about? Like a random topic? Wink, wink.
No.
Neither of you? Really? Nobody?
No, nobody.
Oh man. I mean, come on, guys.
All right. So we'll end it here. This has been podcast number 2. Definitely worse than the first one. And this has been Corey.
This is Christian.
And this is Josh.
Thanks for watching. Bye.